My name is Meagan, and I've been a multimedia producer for 20 years. I cut my teeth in Boston, where I worked in news and publishing, and where I got my start in storytelling. And I went on from there to become an award-winning television producer for PBS. As a grown woman, I can look back at my own story and my struggles with my breasts with tenderness for my younger self. But back then I was a kid, and no one, not the school nurse or my mother, talked to me about breasts at all. How they might get me more attention, how they might hurt, how boys might become fixated and want to touch them. Nothing. So I did what most kids my age would do. I swallowed my feelings and tried my best to conform. For me, conforming meant lessening their size. So I began a meticulous swaddling practice every day before school. It began with an itsy bitsy bra, a turtleneck, a button-up shirt, and a sweater. Presto, I was flattened. This minimalization process worked very well. However, it had the unintended consequence of causing my nipples to invert or become innies. So not only did I now have bigger breasts than any girl I knew, but I was also deformed. It was devastating to be reminded daily that I had brought this upon myself. As I grew older, it was the inverted nipples that caused my greatest dismay. I worried my lovers would think I was misshapen and find me unattractive. I worried that if I had children, I wouldn't be able to feed them. In my mind, I had a major defect and was, on some rudimentary level, unlovable. Years passed, and I learned to compensate for my secret flaw. It was quite a sad little dance, and it truly influenced the development of my psyche because I felt imprisoned in my flawed body, which manifested itself as false confidence and guarded relationships. And then a momentous event inserted itself. I went to Egypt, and while I was there, I climbed into the Great Pyramid, where I had an intense spiritual awakening. As I laid on the stone floor, I began lifting up, higher and higher, into an infinity of space. But there was also something keeping me grounded in the king's chamber. It was a corresponding energy that remains sublimely visceral to this day. And then there was this strange message that breasts contain an ancient wisdom. I wondered, what does it mean? We had also visited the ancient ruins, so massive in scale and so beautiful and wondrous. The temples were dominated by women who rose hundreds of feet high as statues and chiseled human pillars. I remember being struck by the way their breasts were always exposed and how very different it was back in America.